Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Erin and I do mostly budgeting videos like the one you're about to see here. For tuning in and spending some time with me. In today's video, I'm going to do, as promised, an update on my student loan situation. So for those of you who are interested, or maybe for those of you who are affected by a similar circumstance, I'm going to be talking about my student loans that I took out as an undergrad. As a graduate student, I did not take out any loans because I started graduate school so late in life, but I am going to talk to you about my undergraduate loans, which have been haunting me for literally decades. Now, a few wrong turns and some mishandling of my finances, no fault of anybody's but myself, have landed me in this situation for the most part. So I am not complaining and I'm not saying this is anybody's fault, and I am totally responsible, and that's why I am continuing to forge ahead with a plan of action and not really wait around to see what happens if there's going to be any loan forgiveness. I kind of go back and forth with that in my mind because there is so much talk of that lately with the new administration talking about, possibly forgiving $10,000, which I am now under that amount. That would be great, but I'm not counting on anything because it's always a hot topic. It seems like every time there's well, not every time, but sometimes when there's a new president, that seems to be a hot button issue. So I just wanted to go over some of the figures that I first started to talk to you guys about when I did this layout in a previous video, but this is my new layout. I just think that it represents what's going on more current and more accurately. So I am going to zoom in just so you can see all the information. I'm sorry, I have the cheapest copy paper here and you can see right through it. I really need to buy a different type next time because I don't like to see the shadowing. But this is my $2 bill savings challenge, which I haven't colored in. I need to do that. But in fact, I did color that in the folder that I used for it. I have the exact same layout here, but I didn't color it in the one that I keep in my budget planner. So I'm just going to go over some of this top information with you guys. Hopefully that shadowing isn't too distracting, but just kind of bring you up to speed on what the number started at and what it's looking like as of today's date. So my student loan consolidation is through Navient. It didn't start that way. When I took out my loans, the program that I used back in the day, Navient wasn't around, and it ended up being Sallie Mae, and I did have a different interest rate, and at one point they were offering a locked-in 4% interest rate, which is what I'm currently at today, even though my loans have been sold and Navient has taken over and all that fun stuff. When I took out my loans, I did not need a cosigner or parental okay for that. I don't know what the rules are today, but I didn't need anybody to do that. And originally, this was not my total. Now, this was probably the total by the time Navient got a hold of it, but I did not borrow this much money. What I can tell you is that for a long time, many years, I did not handle my finances properly. And a lot of the reason why I am so on top of things today, and so I spend so much time picking through the tiny minutia, every detail of my budget, is because I did mishandle finances for so long, and I learned some really tough and long-lasting lessons. So there was a time I defaulted on my loans. I just didn't make the payments, but when you do that, the interest rate still accrues, and interest on student loans accrues every single day. Now, it is compound interest, so it's a little bit different than, it's kind of like interest on a mortgage, and when you're paying off your loans, you're kind of paying off the bulk of the interest at the beginning of the term, but I have been paying my loans consistently for more than 10 years, and I still can't get them to come down with the minimum payment. So The payoff, because of what I've already done this past year, is now December 27th, 2026. So I did end up paying off this loan consolidation number 1. By the time Navient got a hold of it, it was up to $6705.96. So that's a pretty big number. But again, I don't even remember the original amounts that I borrowed, but it was nowhere near 18 and 6. I mean, oh my goodness, no, it was much less than $15,000, because I want to say that at the time, the maximum that you could borrow as an undergrad was $5,000 per year. And I know I didn't borrow $5,000 3 years in a row. So as you can tell, this just went off the charts with me defaulting and creating more and more interest. So you might not be making your payments, and I'm talking to myself, but that interest is still growing. So that doesn't freeze, and it's not something that you can get rid of through a bankruptcy. Student loans are a kind of beast of their own, and it's just not something that you can escape the way it's set up right now. So my interest rate, more than 10 years ago, got locked in at 4%, which, you know, is fine. I wish it was lower, but I think that is considered pretty low by today's standards. I don't know that for sure, but that's what it is. So recently I was able to pay off loan consolidation number 1, and I did talk about that in a budgeting video. So I'm really, really happy with that and got that out of the way finally, because like I said, chipping away was not working for me. I had to do some aggressive payments and, you know, make some big steps, and finally it started to come down. Loan consolidation number 2 started out at, like I said, after all my compounding interest and years and years of defaulting, $18,992.82. As of today's date, now this will change tomorrow because they add interest daily. So if you check your Navient account and you look at your balance today, it will be different tomorrow. It will be higher tomorrow. So as of today's date, I owe $9,808.96. So I'm just under that $10,000 threshold. If they did do some kind of loan forgiveness where they were doing a $10,000 credit, that'd be amazing. But I don't expect it, and I don't feel entitled to it. So I'm just putting that out there. This isn't a video to debate whether or not, you know, the government should do that. I don't even want to get into that. I know there's strong feelings on both sides, but I'm just working with the details and with the reality that I'm facing. So if that happens, great. If it doesn't happen, I'm still, like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm still pushing ahead and forging ahead with my own plan to pay this off. So my next payment is not due now until February 27th, 2022. And the reason for that is because recently I have made some really large payments on this balance. And instead of just taking that as like an extra, apply it to the principal payment like you could do with your mortgage, they just take those as a regular payments and they stretch it out as long as it will last. So if I would have paid more, maybe I would have ended up having to make my next payment in March or in August of 2022, who knows. But if I go along with the way that this is set up now, with the schedule they have me on, resuming payments in February of next year, my payoff date is December 27th, 2026. So I can tell you that I'm going to do everything in my power to pay this off much, much sooner than that, because I just don't want this hanging over my head anymore. And it does show up on your credit report as revolving credit. So it shows up with other categories like home loan or car loan or leases that you have for cars or whatever the case may be. It does show up, and it does count as using a portion of the credit that you have out there, as opposed to the income you have coming in. So it does affect things. It affects things like if I wanted to buy a house, let's say I wanted to buy a house that was $200,000, but because of everything that I owe, the bank is going to come back and tell me, well, you have too much debt to income ratio, so we're only going to approve you for 175 or whatever the case may be. You guys know what I'm saying. So it does really strongly affect, you know, what you do going forward, the way banks look at you, the way banks look at your portfolio and see, you know, how much debt is this person actually in. So it does affect that, and I'm very mindful of that because we are interested in moving, hopefully, maybe later this year. And so we're trying to make plans and get all our ducks in a row so things are, you know, as easy for us as possible. But we'll see how it works out. So as you guys know, if you've been watching me for a while, I'm sorry I'm so breathy. I've been having some allergy and asthma issues, but as you guys know, I love a good chart. I love something that I can check off, boxes that I can color in, whatever the case may be. So I started this first box at 98.08.96. Now, like I said earlier, if I look at my account tomorrow, it's going to be higher than that, but I'm still going to leave it at that because I have to start somewhere. So this is currently what my balance is today, and I have the rest of it going in $100 increments all the way down to 0. So as I make payments and deal with this, I'm going to color, you know, a little bit here and there as I go. Now, I would like to keep my eye on the news, you know, over the next month or two, just to see if there are any developments as far as, you know, loan credits, in terms of forgiveness from this administration, but I can't let it hang out too long because, like I said, I really want to do something about this before we're ready to look into potentially moving. So that is kind of my my reason and my motivation and my ambition about the whole thing. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that this is what I put together. This is my plan of action. And as I make any progress or any moves on this, I can do an updated video just to show you guys kind of where I'm at with things. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and I know a lot of people are not going to be interested in this, but I was really considering doing some type of Patreon for my channel. And some of you may be thinking, I know, like, there's really no reason to do that, or what could you possibly offer? And that may be the case. But the reason why I am thinking about it is because I was kicking around the idea of possibly, you know, doing some Zoom calls with some people who are interested in talking about, you know, budgets, and maybe diving into, you know, other details maybe that you guys want to share a little bit deeper, that's not on such a public forum. I mean, it would still be a shared forum, but, you know, much on a much smaller scale, and also, you know, putting together some type of newsletter and hosting giveaways just for the people who are in the Patreon group. So I'm thinking about doing a giveaway a month. And as far as the Patreon amount, I want to keep it very modest and very small because I would like to create this offset group, but I also want it to be accessible for everybody. So if you guys can give me your opinions or thoughts on that, you know, let me know what you think, and also let me know, you know, if you would be interested. I would love to know that. I don't even know what a fair amount would be, or, you know, what all the offerings that I will be putting together for this. But I know a lot of people do this, especially, you know, if they want to have more of a smaller, more personal connection with some people who are interested in that. So yeah, I would just be interested in your thoughts. So if you have any ideas that you want to share with me in terms of amount or interest, or if you think it's a bad idea altogether, I take all forms of feedback. So yeah, I would appreciate that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys are all doing well. I hope you're staying healthy. I hope you're staying warm. My prayers have continued to go out to everybody in Texas, especially, who's been affected recently by this horrible inclement weather. So unusual for that area. My brother and his family used to live in Texas. We used to go there all the time, you know, a couple times a year at least. And my sister-in-law's family is still there. So we had our eye on the situation very closely. But I just wanted to tell you, if you are watching and you are from Texas, please know that you have been actively in my prayers. And I hope that things continue to improve for everybody down there, and anybody who has been horribly affected. My heart goes out to you. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video and this update. And if you haven't already subscribed, I would love if you stuck around and did so. And hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Take care.